Hello and welcome to the In Focus series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha Singh and in today's video we will be talking about the opportunities and concerns for India in the coming year, that is 2023. So the year 2022 is about to end and this year has given us a lot many experiences, be it from the perspective of international relations, economics and many more. So we will be talking about the things whose implications will also be seen in the coming year, that is 2023. So let us first understand the timeline of the video. First we will be looking at the news, then we'll talk about 2022, what all have we seen, and then what are the harsh realities that India will face in 2023, then about the challenges and the opportunities. In the end, a mains practice question. This topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 2 and 3, that is International Relations and Economy. See, these points will be very important for you, especially from international relations, and this will also play a lot good part from essay perspective also. So let us see the news, and the news has been taken from the Indian Express and it says China West G20 presidency. Opportunities and concerns for India in 2023. So first of all, what we have seen this year is we have been not on good terms with China, and especially what has happened recently in Arunachal Pradesh, and then there is the Russia-Ukraine war. Because of it, the West, which is the European Union and the US, is not in good terms with the Russia. So India is in between and has to draw its line and has to handle both the West and the Russia with utmost importance. And then the most important, that is the G20 presidency. So India is the president for the G20 and it will be holding the G20 meeting in the coming year, which is 2023. So this will give a lot more importance to India on the global platform, and this will also show India as an emerging and also as India an established power on the global scenario. Then according to all these three aspects, that is China West G20 presidency, so what will be the opportunities and the concerns for India in the coming year, that is 2023. So let us first talk about 2022. So 2022 has been a very noisy year in geopolitics, and especially because of the Russia-Ukraine war, that is Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which has divided the whole world into two halves. First is the West or the NATO nations or the countries supporting Ukraine, and while on the other hand it is Russia. And then second is the China's activities at border. And recently what has happened at the Arunachal Pradesh, both the countries were at loggerheads with each other. So, and now China's movement at the border is also increasing with each passing year. So these are few of the events which has made 2022 very noteworthy year for India. Then India is entering 2023 with challenges and opportunities staring at it on the diplomatic and military fronts. When we say the military fronts, then we are talking about especially about the border countries like Pakistan or China. And when we are talking about the diplomatic terms, then we are talking about the global scenario, like handling the situation between Russia and the European Union on the topic of Russia-Ukraine war. Then talking about the Maldives and the relationship with Maldives and many more. So 2022 is compared with, because we have seen so much in 2022, be it the Russia-Ukraine war, the COVID pandemic is still going on, the border tensions with China. So the year 2022 has been compared with the year 1962, in which the Indo-China war or the Cuban Missile Crisis took place. Then the 1979, when the Iranian Revolution, invasion of Afghanistan and siege of Mecca. Then 1989, fall of Berlin Wall. 1991, collapse of the Soviet Union and economic reforms in India. So 1991 was an important year for India. Then comes 2001, the 9/11 terror attack and the fall of Taliban. Then war on terror. Then comes 2008, global financial crisis. This was a very bad time that the world suffered. And then the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. So the year 2022 has been compared with all these years because some major things happened on the global scale. Then comes highly infectious COVID-19 variant spreading across China, and recently we are seeing that the COVID bomb has exploded in China and many cases are being reported on daily basis. And this new COVID variant and the COVID bomb explosion in China that has taken place, the whole world is worried, and India being the neighboring country has to be more cautious now. So the level of uncertainty has again grappled the world, and the economic downturn looms large also. So first of all, because of the COVID pandemic that has been going on since last 2-3 years, and now the Russia-Ukraine war. So because of all these things, the economic slowdown or the economic downturn or the slowdown, the economists and the scientists are predicting that in the coming times the economic downturn or the slowdown will be seen. Then India hosts the G20 summit in 2023, and this is one positive aspect for India in the coming year, looking to shape conversations on issues confronting the world. So this G20 presidency is what will give India its chance to raise its voice on the global platform, and everyone will be hearing India, what India says, what steps India takes and what actions India takes, because there India will be able to show its power, because it is holding the 20 most emerging economies of the world or the 20 most powerful economies of the world. Then comes what are the harsh realities that India will face in the coming year, that is 2023. So first is the Russia-Ukraine war. As we know that Russia has invaded Ukraine, and till now the war has not stopped, and both the countries are at opposite directions with each other, while Russia is on one hand and Ukraine is supported by the West, which is the NATO nations, the US and the European Union, and European Union or the US has also put sanctions on Russia. So it has impacted the world's food and energy security. See, because of Russia and Ukraine war, the European Union putting sanctions on the Russia, so Russia was not exporting the oil and European Union was not importing the crude oil from the Russia or the natural gas from the Russia, which led to extremely high prices of oil in the European Union, pushing global economy towards a recession, because for a prolonged period of time the European Union has to pay a much higher what it has been expected, so they have to pay much more than what they used to pay. So this is what is leading towards a recession. Then comes China's aggression. China has been very aggressive on the borderline with India. Earlier it was the Galwan attack, and now at present the Arunachal Pradesh skirmish. So this is what is keeping both the nations not on good terms with each other. Then the second point, that after this what can be done is the US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. So US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan, and Russia and China objected to her visit. So Beijing response has drawn attention to China's move, and India is facing that aggression on its border. So China was not in favor of the US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visiting Taiwan, and they objected to it also. So China is showing aggression on the global level. Third is the Taliban engagement begins. So we all know that what has happened in Afghanistan. So Taliban has removed the government in Afghanistan and has formed its own government, and now Afghanistan is ruled by Taliban. So Taliban's recapturing of Afghanistan, and India has reopened its operations in the Indian embassy in Kabul, even though the operations are on limited basis, but they have been reopened. Then Delhi has begun the process of re-engaging by sending humanitarian aid in the form of food grains, vaccines and essential medicines. So Afghanistan was suffering because of many things. So India, being a neighboring country, also supported Afghanistan and send the humanitarian aid. Then comes Pakistan turmoil. So we have seen that the highest position, constitutional position in Pakistan has been changed, and that is Imran Khan led PTI government ousted, and the Shehbaz Sharif led coalition of PMLN and Bhutto Zardari's PPP formed the government. So now Imran Khan is out of his position, and the PMLN and PPP has formed the government in Pakistan. And Pakistan has also got a new army chief, that is the former intelligence chief General Asim Munir. So the topmost positions in Pakistan has been shuffled. There are new people sitting on the positions. So this will also form a new problem between India and Pakistan, because we never know that the people who are on the other side, whether they are in favor of maintaining good relations with India or not. Now let's talk about neighborhood in crisis. So we are talking about majorly Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka's economic and political crisis. So Sri Lanka, as we all know, is suffering from major economic issues and does not have the bank, does not have sufficient things or sufficient money in his or her own bank account so that they can actually fund themselves, and the country is in dire need for help. And India, behaving like an elder brother and a good neighbor, has helped Sri Lanka, and India has given humanitarian aid, fuel, medicines more than any other country in such a short period of time. And also the inflation in Sri Lanka also went to the new heights. So people were not in condition to actually afford the basic necessities also. So they needed support, and India supported Sri Lanka in those difficult times. Then Delhi is also helping the Sri Lankan country negotiate an economic debt relief package from the International Monetary Fund. So India is helping Sri Lanka when Sri Lanka needs help. Now next comes, what are the challenges and opportunities for India in 2023? First is dealing with China. As we all know, we have a very volatile neighbors, and dealing with China is not easy, because on the one hand China is a major economic power, and secondly it is militarily also very active, and third is that India as a nation, the China-India trading partnership is also very strong. Then Arunachal clashes have shown that Beijing is challenging the status quo, and President Xi Jinping getting a third term. So President Xi Jinping getting the third term and emerging as China's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong. So if China's President Xi Jinping is coming back to power, then we can say that things will be same as it is now. Then comes engaging with Russia. Even though Russia and Ukraine are not on good terms with each other and are at war, but Russia has always been a good partner or good friend of India. So it is not that India can directly go against Russia and say that Russia is not doing something good. So India also have to play diplomatically, and diplomacy is the key when it comes to dealing with the Russia-Ukraine crisis. So Russia has been a reliable supplier of defense equipment for India over so many decades, even though we have shifted towards France, then US, but still majority of the portions we are still buying from Russia, and the most recent one was the S-400 defense system. And the concerns with Moscow was Moscow's ties with China is also getting better, because in the Russia-Ukraine war, China was on the side, or China supported Russia and also provided support to Russia. So China's relationship with Russia is also getting better and strengthened. Then post Cold War era, economic relations have formed the new strategic basis for Sino-Russian relations. So we also have to see that China-Russia relations are getting strengthened, but India-Russia relation also gets better. Next is G20 as a global stage. So hosting the G20 summit will be one of the biggest portrayals of India's rise at the global stage, because G20 is the combination of all the most powerful economies of the world coming together. So when India will be the president of the G20, India can actually show its power on the global stage that yes, India is capable enough of holding all the big economies together. Then New Delhi has already positioned itself as the voice of the global South, and especially of the developing and the least developed countries. India has shown that it has the capabilities and the direction to move forward. Then come the ties with the West. Then India buying oil and not joining the West against Russia. So what has happened is India is buying oil from Russia because Russia is offering oil to India at economic prices. So, and also India is not going against Russia in the Russia-Ukraine war. So we have to maintain our relations with the West, that is the US or the European Union or the NATO countries. Then Delhi will have to work to assuage the concerns of European and American partners. Because even though we are buying oil from Russia at lower prices, but still we have to buy things from the West also, so that the relationship between India and the West does not get hampered. Next comes the challenge in the neighborhood, and this challenge is Sri Lanka will continue to demand India's humanitarian, financial and political attention, as Sri Lanka is going through one of the most difficult times in history. So it would want and it needs also help from India, and especially on the humanitarian grounds. And then few of our neighbors with which we are not on good terms, and in the past few years the relationship between India and those neighbors have not been good, then we also need to see that the relationship with those countries get strengthened, because the relationship like with Maldives and Nepal, our neighbor China is having good relationships with these countries. So we need to have a balance between other neighbors and its relationship with China also, so that these neighbors do not actually explicitly go to one side, because these neighbors form very strategic locations when it comes to India's perspective. So Maldives is going to the elections and it is presently not in good relations with India. So we have to see that these countries or Maldives comes at good terms with India. Then second is Nepal. So Nepal has also, the political crisis has changed and the political situation in the country has changed. So we need to see that whoever has been sitting on the highest position in Nepal gets in good terms with India. So these were few of the challenges and opportunities. Also, the last aspect is the mains practice question. Says, what are the challenges and opportunities that lies for India in 2023 in the wake of G20 presidency? So you can try this writing and do your answer writing practice. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading and keep writing.